Hello dear viewers, welcome to another video tutorial of this YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, we're going to be focusing on question number 1, which is coming from the 2024 ECZ examination for school certificate ordinary level additional mathematics paper 2. So this question that we're going to be interested in today's tutorial, it is falling under the topic which is systems of equations. So it is question number 1. So this is the exam that the internal candidates wrote in 2024. So now let's try to check where this question is located in this paper. So it is question number 1. We're interested in question number 1, which is falling under systems of equations. So let's try to check where question number 1 is located. Okay, so this is the question that we're going to be interested in today's tutorial. It is question number 1. So question number 1 states that solve the following systems of equations. So this question, it is carrying 6 marks, and we have 3 equations there. We have 2a plus 3b plus 4c is equal to 11, and then we have another one as a plus 5b plus 7c is equal to 15, and then we also have another one as 3a plus 11b plus 13c is equal to 25. So they want us to know the value of a, b, and c. So how are we going to do it? So we're going to get into the solving so that you know how to solve these systems of equations. And as we get into the solving, I would like to remind you to subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you're always going to be updated with the latest information on this YouTube channel. And as you subscribe, don't forget to turn on the notification button so that you're always going to be notified when there is any latest information on this YouTube channel. And also don't forget to share so that others can also enjoy the tutorials of additional mathematics. And then don't forget to comment so that we can hear out your views. Last not the least, you can like this video by giving it a thumbs up. So now let's quickly get into the solving. Okay, so the question is like solve the following systems of equations. So if you are given three equations, like this, what you have to do is that you need to select a set. In such a case, we're going to start with the first and second equation. We're going to select these. So we are first going to select 2a plus 3b plus 4c is equal to 11, and we're also going to select this one, which is a plus 5b plus 7c is equal to 15. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to select these two equations. And then after this, what is the next thing? So the next thing that you have to do after you do this is that you need to pick any letter which you want to eliminate. If you want, you can pick A. If you want, you can pick B. If you want, you can pick C. But in such a case, we're going to eliminate C. That is what we're going to do. Now, how are we going to eliminate C? So the way that we're going to eliminate C is that we're going to get the coefficients that the C has. So we're going to start with the first coefficient. When you look at the down equation, which is a plus 5b plus 7c is equal to 15, the coefficient of C in that equation, it is 7. So what you have to do is that you need to get that 7, and you need to multiply that 7 throughout the equation, which is at the top. So you're going to multiply each term by 7, and then again when you check the the top equation, which is 2a plus 3b plus 4c is equal to 11. So again there you need to get the coefficient of C. In such a case, the coefficient of C, it is 4. So what you have to do again is that you need to multiply that 4 with each term in the second equation. So the equation that we're talking about, it is a plus 5b plus 7c is equal to 15. We're going to multiply each term by 4. So I hope you have gotten it. So the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to perform the calculations. So we said that with the top part, we're going to multiply. With the first equation, we're going to multiply each term by 7. And with the second equation, we're going to multiply each term by 4. So let's try to perform the calculations. We're going to start with the top part. So when you say 2 times 7, it will give you 14. So 2a times 7, it will give you 14a. And then when you say 3b times 7, it will give you 21b. And then when you say 4c times 7, it will give you 28c. And that is equal to 11 times 7, it will give you 77. And then again, you're going to consider the down part. You're going to consider the second equation that we have, which is a plus 5b plus 7c is equal to 15. So we said that we're going to multiply each term by 4 in that second equation. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to start with that one, which is a times 4. It will give you 4a. And then 5b times 4, it will give you 20b. Again, when you say 7c times 4, it will give you 28c. And then when you say 15 times 4, it will give you 60. So as you can see, after you perform these calculations, you are going to have the coefficient which is the same, which has the same value, which has almost the same value. When you check the coefficient of C, there is 28 with the upper equation, and there is also 28 in the second equation. So the only thing that can change in such a case, sometimes it is the sign. Sometimes the top part can have the negative, or sometimes the down part can have the negative, or both can have the negative. So that is how we do it. So these should give you the same value. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. So in such a case, we have 28 with the top equation, and we have 28 with the down equation when we consider the variable of C. So it depends with the letter that you are eliminating. So if you are eliminating B, you're supposed to have the same values after you multiply. You're supposed to have the same coefficient numbers after you multiply. And if you are eliminating A, it is actually the same case. So then, so now let's try to proceed. So the next step that you have to take is that you need to draw something like that. After you do this, the next thing that you have to do is that you're going to consider something. When you check, we are eliminating C. So what we have to do is that for C to be eliminated, we need to subtract. So you need to get this, you need to get this, which is same signs. If you have same signs, in such a case, we have positive 28, and we also have positive 28 when we consider the equations. So if we have same signs, we need to subtract. But if we have different signs, we need to add. But in such a case, we have same signs. So what we're going to do is that we're simply going to subtract. So if it was negative, so if we had negative 28 on the top part and also negative 28 on the down part, we're supposed to subtract as long as we have the same signs. And then again, if we have different signs, we need to add. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. And when you add or subtract, it should give you the value which is 0. So I hope you have gotten it. So when you add or subtract, it should give you the value which is 0. So that's how it is going to be. So same signs, subtract, different signs, add. So in such a case, we're going to subtract. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to consider a negative. So what we're simply going to do is that we're going to consider the first step. So make sure you enclose the second equation in brackets. enclose the second equation in brackets simply because we are subtracting. So in such a case, we're first going to consider 14a minus 4a. So 14a minus 4a, it will give you 10a. Again, when you say 21b minus 20b, it will give you b. And then again, when you say 28c minus 28c, it will give you 0. So this is what we were saying. So if you're eliminating a certain letter, make sure that when you reach this stage, it should give you the value which is 0. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. So when you get 0, it means that you have eliminated a certain letter. So in such a case, when we get 0, we have it means that we have eliminated C. You can use a number of methods to solve this question, which is the systems of equations. If you want, you can use the substitution method, or if you want, you can use the elimination method. But in such a case, we are using the elimination method. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. So you can either use the substitution or elimination, or any which you would like, as long as it is producing the correct answer. But in such a case, we are using the elimination method. So again, we're going to say 77 minus 60. It will give you the value which is 17. So we have the first equation. We have the first equation as 10a plus b equal to 17. So this is our equation 1. So this is the first equation that we have found. So we have found the first equation, which is 10a plus b is equal to 17. So the next step that you have to take is that, again, you need to find another equation. Now, how are you going to find the other equation? Go back to the equation that you have. So when you check the 3 equations that you have, you can select again another two equations. You can select that, or you can select that. So if you want, you can select the first equation and the last equation, or if you want, you can select the second equation and the last equation. But in such a case, we're going to select the second and last equation. That's what we're going to do. So now we have the second equation as a plus 5b plus 7c is equal to 15, and we have the third equation as 3a plus 11b plus 13c is equal to 25. Again, what we're going to do is that we're going to take similar steps. We're going to take the same steps as we did earlier. So again, what we're going to do is that we need to eliminate C. Make sure what you eliminated first is what you have to eliminate again. So in such a case, we earlier eliminated C, meaning that again we're going to eliminate C. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. So we eliminated C. Even in such a case, so even in this case, we're going to eliminate C. How are we going to eliminate C? So we're going to say that you need to get the coefficient. You need to get the number which is associated with the variable of C. And in such a case, we have 13 when we consider the second equation. So we're going to consider the coefficient, which is 13. So that 13 is supposed to be multiplied throughout in the first equation that we have, which is a plus 5b plus 7c is equal to 15. So we're going to multiply each term by 13 in that equation, which is a plus 5b plus 7c is equal to 15. So that is what we're going to do. So again there, since we are eliminating C, again we're going to check the coefficient of C. So after you check the coefficient of C, or the number which is associated with the variable of C, you're going to multiply 7 throughout the second equation, which is 3a plus 11b plus 13c is equal to 25. So you need to multiply each term in that equation by 7 for you to be able to eliminate the C. So you're going to start with the first part. You're going to say a times 13, it will give you 13a. So again, when you say 5b times 13, it will give you 65b. Again, when you say 7c times 13, it will give you 91c. Again, when you say 15 times 13, it should give you the value which is 195. So when you say 15 times 13, it will give you the value which is 195. Again, when you consider the second equation, we said that we are multiplying each term by 7. So we're going to say 3a times 7, and we're going to get 21a. And when you say 11b times 7, it will give you 77b. Again, when you say 13c times 7, it should give you 91c is equal to 25 times 7. It will give you the value which is 175. So this is what you should get. Again, as we said earlier, you should have the same numbers. In such a case, we have 91 both in the first and the second equation. We have 91. The only thing that can change in such a case, it is the sign. So if we have the same numbers, it means that we can be able to eliminate. The only thing that can change it is the sign. So it can maybe be in the top equation we have maybe negative 91, or in the second we have positive 91. That's the only thing that should change. But if you have numbers, if you have same numbers, it means that you can be able to eliminate. But whereby in a case we have different numbers, maybe we say in the top equation we have 91, and then in the second equation we have 81c, we can't be able to eliminate that one. We can't easily be able to eliminate it. So make sure that you have same numbers after you multiply. So in such a case, we can be able to eliminate those. And we earlier said that if we have same signs, we need to subtract. If we have same signs, we need to subtract. Remember, we have positive 91c and we also have positive 91c. So we have to subtract. We have to subtract those. So we have to subtract these two equations. That's what we're supposed to do. So we're going to start we're going to start the process. So we're going to say 13a minus 21a. Again, when you say 65b minus 77b, it will give you 12b. Again, when you say 91c minus 91c, it will give you the value which is 0. Again, when you say now 195 minus 175, it will give you the value which is 20. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. So we have found the second equation. We have the equation as negative 8a minus 12b is equal to 20. So this is our equation number 2. So we have the first equation as we found the first equation as 10a plus b is equal to 17, and then we have now found the second equation as negative 8a minus 12b is equal to 20. So these are the equations that we have. So we're simply going to write those two equations that we found. We're going to write those two equations. So we have the first equation as 10a plus b is equal to 17, and then the second equation as 8a minus 12b is equal to 20. So again, what we're going to do is that we're going to select a letter that we're going to eliminate. If you want, you can select a, or if you want, you can select b. So what we're simply going to do in such a case, we're going to eliminate b. So we're going to eliminate b. So the way that we're going to eliminate b is that we're going to multiply the number that we have in the second equation throughout the first equation that we have, which is 10a plus b is equal to 17. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to say times 12 times 12. So we're going to multiply the first equation, each term in first equation, by 12. We're going to multiply each term in the first equation by 12. Again, what we are simply going to do is that we're going to check the coefficient of b in the first equation. So in such a case, it is the same as 1b. So the coefficient of 1b, it is 1. So we're going to multiply 1 throughout the second equation. We're going to multiply each term in the second equation by 1. So we're going to say times 1. So again, we're going to say 10a times 12, it will give 120a. Again, we're going to say b times 12, it will give you 12b, and that is equal to 17 times 12, it will give you the value which is 204. Again, when you say negative 8a times 1, it will give you negative 8a, and then again when you say negative 12b times 1, it will give you negative 12b is equal to 20 times 1, it will give you the value which is 20. So what you have to do again is that you need to do what we did earlier. So you need to get some of the things. So we said that if you're eliminating a certain number, and when you check the coefficients, if you have different signs, you need to add. If you have different signs, you need to add, but if you have same signs, you need to subtract. But in such a case, we have different signs. So we have different signs when you check carefully. So there is a negative, there is positive 12b, and there is also negative 12b. So what we can simply do is that we need to add. So as long as you have different signs, you need to add. So in such a case, for you to eliminate that, you need to add. So you're going to simply say 120a plus negative 8a. So in such a case, you're going to say positive times negative in the 8a. You're going to have the negative. In such a case, it is going to be 120a minus 8a, and it will give you 112. So 120a plus negative 8a is equal to 112a. So again, when you say 12b plus negative 12b, it will give you the value which is 0. So it will give you 0. So again, we're going to consider the next one, which is 204 plus 20. So 204 plus 20, it will give you 224. So this is what we have. So we have 112a plus 0 is equal to 224. So what we can simply do is that we can just, since 0 represents that there is nothing, so we can just eliminate it. So we're going to remain with 112a is equal to 224. So what we're simply going to do is that our main objective is to find the value of a. So what we're going to simply do is that we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 112. So we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 112. So after you say 124 divided by 112, it will give you the value which is 2. It will give you the value of 2. So this is what we have. So again, what we're going to do is that we're going to pick an equation. It is either equation 1 or equation 2 according to what we found. So we're either going to pick 10a plus b is equal to 17, or we're going to pick negative 8a minus 12b is equal to 20. So in such a case, we're going to pick the first equation, which is 10a plus b is equal to 17. So we're going to pick the first equation so that we find the value of b. So in such a case, we have the first equation as 10a plus b is equal to 17. So we have chosen this equation, which is 10a plus b is equal to 17. What we're simply going to do is that we're going to replace wherever there is a, we're going to replace where there is a with the value that we found, which is 2. So we're going to say 10 open brackets 2 plus b is equal to 17. So after you say 10 times 2, or you can simply say 10 open brackets 2 close brackets, it will give you the value which is 20. So you're going to have 20 plus b is equal to 17. So remember again, we're interested in finding the values of A, B, and C. So in such a case, when we make B the subject, we're going to find the value of B. Again, we're going to say B is equal to 17. So when you take 20 to the right hand side, it is going to be a negative. So in such a case, it is going to be negative 20, and the overall is going to be B is equal to 17 minus 20. So when you calculate, when you say 17 minus 20, it will give you the value which is negative 3. So this is what we have. We have found the value of A and B. So we have the value of B as negative 3. So now what is the next step? So again, you're going to pick any equation in the original equations that we had. So we're going to pick any equation. It is either you're going to pick the first, the second, or the last. So it's either we're going to pick the first, the second, or the last, but in such a case, we're going to pick the first equation. We're going to pick the first equation, which is 2a plus 3b plus 4c is equal to 11. This is the equation that we're going to pick so that we find the value of c. So in such a case, we're going to replace the values that we have. So we're going to replace the letters with the values that we found. So in such a case, we found the values of A and B. So we're going to replace where there is A with what we have. We're going to say 2 open brackets, 2 close brackets. And then again, we're going to replace where there is B with negative 3. And then when it comes to c, we don't have the value of c, so we're going to write it like that. So again, what we're simply going to do is that we're going to do the calculations. We're going to perform the calculations with that part. We're going to say 2 open brackets, 2 close brackets plus 3 open brackets minus 3 close brackets. So when you perform the calculations on that part, you're going to have the value which is negative 5. So it is going to be negative 5 plus 4c is equal to 11. So again, we're going to make c the subject. So the way that we're going to make c the subject is that we're going to first start by taking the negative 5 to the right hand side, and when it goes to the right hand side, it is going to be positive, so it is going to be plus 5. So in such a case, we're going to have 4c is equal to 11 plus 5. So when you do the calculations, when you perform the calculations on the right hand side, it will give you the value which is 16. So remember, our main objective is that we want to find the value of c. So what we're simply going to do is that we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 4. So it is going to be like that. So in such a case, you are going to say 16 divided by 4. It will give you the value which is 4. So we have now found the values of A, B, and C. We have the value of A, we have the value of B, we have the value of C. So we have A as 2 and B as negative 3, and then we have C as positive 4. So these are the things that we have. So as you perform calculations with such questions, please be careful, be patient, be careful so that you don't make mistakes. Make sure to do that, and you can even prove if you have found the correct things. You can replace the values that you have in all the 3 or any 2 equations that you have in the question. So if the statements become true, it means that you have found the correct things. So when you replace and you find that the statement is true, let me give an example. If on the left hand side it is 6 and on the right hand side it is 6, so it means that you can conclude that what you found is correct. But if they don't equal, it means that you have found that you have made a mistake somewhere. That's one thing that you need to keep in mind. So the overall answer is going to be like, therefore we have A as positive 2, and then B as negative 3, and C as positive 4. So this is how you easily score marks in the exam. This is how you easily score marks in the exam. So we have now come to the end of the tutorial, and I hope you haven't forgotten to subscribe, to like, to share, and to comment. Thank you for watching. See you to another video tutorial.